The disciples followed the Buddha through the bustling village, overwhelmed by the sights and sounds surrounding them. Each corner held merchants loudly hawking wares. Farmers debated prices. Messengers delivered news. And children played, shouting with glee. Ananda, among them, struggled to focus as his thoughts scattered. He approached the Buddha, seeking guidance amid the chaos. "Master, how can we find calm in such an overwhelming world?" Ananda asked, his face reflecting unease. The Buddha turned and smiled gently at his disciples, gesturing for them to follow him to the shade of a Bodhi tree. They gathered, the rustling leaves offering respite from the noise of the village. Sitting under the great tree, the Buddha spoke, his voice calm and measured. "Ananda, the world is indeed full of distractions. It tempts the mind to grasp at every passing moment." The disciples leaned in closer, eager to listen to the wisdom the Buddha would share. "Imagine a man standing in the middle of a vast river," the Buddha said. His gaze shifted to Ananda. "The currents are strong, pulling him in every direction, and driftwood floats past him. Seemingly valuable treasures, he tries to grab each piece of wood, believing every piece is important to hold." The Buddha continued. "The man grows weary, his arms full, unable to bear the weight of all he has collected." His eyes swept across the group, ensuring his words reached every heart. "Eventually, he sinks, overwhelmed by what he clings to." The disciples absorbed the vivid metaphor, their faces showing contemplation of the Buddha's teaching. "The river represents the ceaseless stream of information and noise in our world," the Buddha said. "We are tempted to grasp at all we see and hear, fearing we may miss something of importance. But wisdom lies not in fighting the currents," the Buddha explained, his tone serene and reflective. "The wise man lets the river flow past, observing without clinging. He chooses only what is truly meaningful." The disciples sat quietly, pondering the profound simplicity of the Buddha's words. The Buddha, sensing their growing openness, smiled faintly, his serenity inspiring. "Begin with the breath," he instructed, his words imbued with practical wisdom. "The breath is neither past nor future. It is the eternal present moment," he explained patiently. "As you inhale, know that you are inhaling," the Buddha guided, his tone steady and rhythmic. The Buddha looked at each disciple with compassion, sensing the impact of his lesson. "Stillness, my dear disciples, is not the absence of sound, but the clarity to discern what truly deserves your attention." A young seeker, brimming with curiosity, posed another question. "Master, how can we carry this stillness amidst the demands of our world?" she asked earnestly. The Buddha responded, his gaze serene yet piercing. "Stillness is not the absence of action but the presence of awareness in your actions. Be fully present," he continued. "Whether you are eating, speaking, or working." Ananda silently marveled at the transformation within himself, understanding the power of choosing what to hold onto. The Buddha remained seated, offering his presence as the disciples embraced the lesson with their hearts and minds. "Imagine a bird in flight," the Buddha illustrated, its wings steady, its focus unwavering on the horizon. "So too must you move through your life, steady yet mindful," he encouraged, fostering hope. The disciples followed, their footsteps lighter, carrying with them the invaluable gift of wisdom shared under the Bodhi tree. The village, once overwhelming, now seemed manageable as the disciples walked through its streets again. "Master," an elder disciple began, "what of the attachments that bind us to this noise?" The Buddha gazed at him with profound understanding, his voice now tinged with depth. "Attachments are like chains," he said, "forged by your cravings and fears." The Buddha glanced at his disciples, his serene smile reflecting the joy of seeing his words take root. The disciples carried forward the lesson, their hearts lighter and their minds focused on the simplicity of choosing meaning over noise. Another day, the Buddha sat beneath a great Bodhi tree, surrounded by disciples eager to listen to his teachings. A farmer approached the gathering, his face etched with worry and his hands trembling with restless energy. "Lord Buddha, my mind feels broken," he began, bowing deeply, as if it cannot hold anything I learn or hear. The Buddha looked at the farmer with gentle eyes, his voice calm and steady. "Tell me, why do you feel this way?" The farmer said, "I work all day, surrounded by noise, news, and countless demands. Yet I remember nothing valuable at night." The Buddha nodded, gesturing for the farmer to sit beside him under the cooling shade of the Bodhi tree. "Imagine your mind as a jar," Buddha said, his voice as smooth as the flowing river nearby. "A jar filled too quickly will overflow," he continued. "And if the jar is cracked, it will lose what it contains." The farmer shook his head, puzzled by the metaphor, but willing to listen as the disciples murmured softly, "You pour knowledge into your mind without care, and the crack drains your peace," Buddha explained patiently, watching the farmer. "Only by repairing the jar can it hold what matters," Buddha said. "And only by slowing down can you repair it." The farmer leaned forward, asking nervously, "But Lord Buddha, how do I repair my broken jar of a mind?" The Buddha replied, "The jar's cracks are your distractions, born from greed to hold everything, to never miss a thing. Do you recall what happened when you last tried to learn something?" Buddha asked, tilting his head curiously. The farmer lowered his eyes, ashamed. "I tried to remember everything, but I became so restless that I gained nothing at all." Buddha's gaze softened. "The monk once faced the same problem," he said, starting the story that rested in his memory. "There was a monk who studied scriptures day and night, obsessively memorizing teachings without understanding their meanings." Buddha recounted slowly. "He sought to grasp it all, believing wisdom lived in words and lectures, forgetting that wisdom thrives in experience." Buddha continued, exhausted. "The monk came to me, asking why wisdom felt distant, though he drowned himself in sacred texts." Buddha said, "I handed him an empty jar and asked him to fill it with water." Buddha explained as disciples nodded knowingly. The jar had a small crack, unnoticed at first, and the monk poured water again and again into it. Buddha said, he cried out, frustrated, and asked, "Why did you give me a broken jar, Master?" Buddha recalled, his tone serene. "I told him, this jar reflects your mind, broken by impatience, leaking away what you've rushed to gather." Buddha explained. When the monk slowed down, fixing his gaze upon one scripture, applying its wisdom, the jar began to hold water. Buddha shared. The farmer rubbed his hands together nervously, absorbing the story, yet still unsettled by the message hidden within. Buddha's smile was gentle but firm. "You cannot repair your mind while rushing to collect, hoard, and process everything," he said. "Focus on one piece of knowledge at a time. Live its lessons, and let its depth settle inside you." Buddha advised. "But my work keeps me busy, Master," the farmer said, almost pleading, "and distractions rise like weeds no matter where I turn." Buddha replied, "Life provides distractions endlessly. It is your choice whether to nourish the weeds or cultivate the garden within. Just as you plow fields and plant crops, nurture your mind with intention and simplicity," Buddha said, his voice steady. "Choose carefully what you invite into your mind, for not all thoughts deserve the precious soil of your inner being." Buddha added. The farmer hesitated, shifting uncomfortably, feeling both shame and hunger for clarity, hoping to grasp what Buddha offered so calmly. "The jar cannot hold the river's flood," Buddha said. "Let it collect the rain's gentle drops, one by one. In stillness, wisdom grows slowly, patiently, just as seeds blossom when sunlight and care guide their journey." Buddha shared warmly. "But stillness feels distant. Master, the farmer said, his voice breaking slightly, and peace always escapes my grasp no matter what I do. Buddha replied, you chase peace as one chases the horizon, forgetting it is found by sitting still in the present moment. When a lake is disturbed, its surface cannot reflect the world's beauty, Buddha said, gesturing to the nearby river flowing calmly. The ripples mirror restless thoughts, turbulent minds distracted by desires, worries, and floods of information. Buddha explained with a knowing smile, to quiet the lake, let go of what stirs the waters. Attachment to ideas, resistance to silence, Buddha said, raising his hand gently. The lake stills itself when the storm passes, Buddha added. Trust the breath to guide you back to tranquility. The farmer bowed his head in silence, his heart heavy yet oddly lightened by the wisdom flowing from Buddha's words. He said, thank you, Master. I will try to slow the pace, to nurture understanding instead of chasing the endless currents. Buddha nodded softly, saying, the slow path is the enduring path. May your jar hold what truly matters. The disciples watched as the farmer departed, his steps lighter, his eyes clearer, his worries no longer gripping his soul tightly. Buddha turned to his followers, saying, do not forget the lesson. Life floods us with possibilities, but peace blooms from careful tending. Let your jar hold wisdom, and let wisdom guide your actions. For the world offers more than the mind can hold. Buddha concluded. The river continued to flow, soft ripples brushing its surface, as the Bodhi tree's shade cooled the afternoon's warm embrace. The disciples sat in silence, cherishing the stillness, their jars unbroken and ready to hold each gentle drop of Buddha's teachings. Another day. As the sun set over Jetavana, the Buddha sat by a serene lake. His disciples gathered around him. The water mirrored the heavens, its surface untouched by ripples, reflecting the tranquil beauty of the evening sky. Ananda, ever eager to learn, approached the Buddha and said, Master, my thoughts are restless, like waves in this lake. The Buddha turned his gaze to Ananda, his voice calm and filled with wisdom. Why do you feel this restlessness? Ananda replied, I try to hold all thoughts, Master, but they overwhelm me, scattering my peace like leaves in the wind. The Buddha gestured toward the lake, saying, when disturbed, even the clearest water cannot reflect the moon's brilliance. But how can we still the restless waters of the mind? Ananda asked, his eyes seeking guidance from the enlightened one. The Buddha smiled gently, replying, you do not still the waters by force. Ananda, to fight restlessness only creates more ripples. A man once sought peace by running from his thoughts. The Buddha began, drawing the disciples closer with his story. He journeyed to the mountains, thinking isolation would free his mind from the chaos of the world. Buddha continued calmly. In the stillness of the mountains, he found his thoughts louder, echoing like thunder, growing fiercer as he resisted them. Buddha explained. Despairing, he came to me, saying, Master, the noise follows me. How do I escape this storm inside my head? Buddha recalled. I told him, you cannot escape the mind by running, for it travels with you, carrying its storms wherever you go. The man asked, then how do I quiet the storm? How do I silence the endless noise within me? Buddha said, his tone thoughtful. I pointed to a river nearby and said, sit beside it and observe. Do not interfere, only watch. Buddha recounted patiently. As the man watched, he saw the river's surface disturbed by falling leaves. Yet the current carried them away. Buddha said. He realized that his thoughts were like those leaves, carried by the river of awareness, coming and going without permanence. Buddha shared. The man returned, saying, Master, I see now that stillness is not the absence of thought but the flow of acceptance. Buddha paused, letting the story settle among the disciples. the quiet lake before them a mirror of their contemplative minds. He turned to Ananda and said, "To still the ripples, you must first stop grasping at the thoughts that create them. Thoughts will come and go, like leaves on the river, but your awareness remains constant, unshaken by their presence," Buddha explained. "Observe without judgment, and the mind will naturally settle, just as the lake becomes calm when left undisturbed," Buddha added. Another disciple, curious, asked, "Master, what if the ripples are caused by urgent matters, things we cannot ignore or delay?" Buddha replied, "Even the urgent can be addressed with clarity. A restless mind distorts urgency into chaos, creating confusion where there is none. A fisherman once hurried to catch every fish in the lake at once, casting his net wildly, catching nothing," Buddha said. When he slowed down, focusing on one fish at a time, his net filled with ease and his mind with peace, Buddha shared. In the same way, handle each matter with intention, and the mind will find clarity, even amidst the busiest of days, Buddha advised. The disciples nodded, their faces reflecting the understanding that rippled through their hearts, like the calm spreading over the lake. The Buddha continued, "Meditation is not escaping the world but returning to it with stillness and insight. Like the lake's reflection, when you meditate, you are not trying to erase thoughts but to let them settle, revealing the truth beneath," Buddha explained. "A mirror reflects reality when it is clean, and the mind reflects wisdom when it is still," Buddha said softly. Ananda asked, "Master, how do we begin this practice, especially when the mind feels too restless even to sit in meditation?" Buddha answered, "Begin with the breath. The breath is an anchor, steady and present, guiding you back when the waves grow strong. Focus on each inhale and exhale, noticing how it flows effortlessly, like the river, grounding you in the present moment," Buddha said. "The breath does not fight the currents of life. It moves with them, yet remains steady, a constant amidst change," Buddha shared. "When the mind wanders, gently return to the breath, as one steers a boat back to its course," Buddha advised. His tone soothing, a young disciple asked, "Master, how long must we practice before the lake of the mind becomes still and clear?" Buddha replied, "The practice has no end, for the lake reflects the sky as long as it remains undisturbed by force. Patience is the key, for the ripples fade not by command but by the passage of gentle, mindful presence," Buddha added. "Each moment of awareness deepens the stillness, like drops of rain filling an empty jar." One by one, Buddha said warmly. The disciples sat in silence, their breaths synchronized, as the moon rose higher, its light dancing softly on the still lake. The Buddha looked at them, his voice resonating with timeless wisdom. "Remember, the stillness you seek is already within you. It is not something to be attained but something to be uncovered by letting go of the noise that veils it," Buddha concluded. As the night deepened, the disciples remained by the lake, their hearts calm, their minds reflecting the peace taught by the Buddha. The lake, undisturbed, mirrored the infinite sky, a reminder that within stillness lies the clarity to see the world as it is. The Buddha rose, his steps deliberate and quiet, leaving behind the echoes of wisdom that would guide his disciples for lifetimes. His gaze turned to a nearby bird, its feathers ruffled as it hunted for food. Even the bird knows when to stop seeking, for it senses the balance within itself. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.